All right, guys. Tell you what, then we're gonna get straight to it. So these are only quite short clips that we're gonna be watching. This is Local 58 Digital Transition. When did they last upload? Actually, Local 58. The last upload was 2 years ago. That is crazy. So this journey's been going on from 4 years. So if I remember correctly, this channel is basically about like it's about like an alien group that have interfered with a certain TV station, and they're putting out messages, and they're trying to hijack. I think they're trying to hijack. Well, they basically hijacked the satellite already, and they're trying to, I guess, take over again. And the moon, basically, there's something on the moon. Like, this is where they, like, I don't know, there's some kind of monster demon thing on the moon, or the moon isn't what it's meant to be. I honestly can't remember that much. But if you guys want to, catch up on that, they're only like, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 videos to go through. And it'll probably take you just under an hour to do. Less than that, really. But yeah, we're going to go into digital transition and see what happens. You know what I mean? Let's have a good time.
Very same house, very same room.
Digital broadcasting tonight at midnight. For more information, visit local58.tv/digital. Do you reckon that's an actual website?
Dead men do tell tales. Will she try to explain it? At all? Well, that I would like to hear, because I can't explain
What is this, like an old school?
But it happened just the same.
That was a weird switch. Oh, okay, it's counting down. This reminds me of the, in accordance with FCG regulations, WCLV TV Local 58 will finally make the switch from analog to digital broadcast format starting tonight, July 13th, 2021. July 13th. Older television sets will experience an interruption in service. Oh, okay. Analog TV owners may qualify to receive a free digital conversion kit. I mean, if they're going to change like that, then you would expect some kind of, like, what the hell was that? Was that a message? Hershey's camera. The news at 9. Sorry, I mean, let's be honest. Going from analog to digital in 2021, I swear that happened years ago, did it not? I remember seeing, like, adverts for that when I was in college. These guys were just, I guess the aliens were like boomers, weren't they? Like, oh, we got to switch. Come on, baby, let's see this digitalness. Is it going to be like crisp? It's not changed. Okay. Is this a metaphor? Okay, yeah, if this station will not be participating in digital conversion at this time. If you have UNIS message, your TV has not been configured for digital reception. Either one you watched, always hear, they make you thought from pieces. They what? They cut what? Thought shape in needles. They dream themselves in knives. Oh, hang on, there's a slight pause there. They make you thought from pieces. They cut the thoughts I am. All knife. Thought shape in needles. They dream themselves in knives. Weather warning in your area. Go outside now. I mean, at this point, though, I mean, the last video pretty much, like, nailed it, didn't it? Like, telling people to go outside and look at the moon. If it hasn't worked by this point, then you just not... It's not going to work, is it, really? It's not going to happen. Hang on. Let me go back. 'Cause I always miss stuff. Unthinking they move. Who's this? Fucking Yoda? Got his throat? Oh. Only to make 1,000 mouths. If he is silenced, we will speak for him. What is this? Frickin' signs and wonders. Flood our little sky. This is Q anonymous. Only eyes. Waiting to open. There are other receivers. Okay. Federal law imposes severe civil and criminal penalties for the unauthorized reception of analog frequencies formerly allocated to broadcast television. Unauthorized... Whoa. It got shut down. And what is this, a recent thing here? November 20th, 2021. Let's have a look.
After 2 years of silence, Local 58 is back. Not just with another video, but a fully realized ARG complete with mysterious phone numbers and broken web pages, all repeating the same cryptic message. Someone, or something, wants us dead. Don't look up. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the channel that made the jump to digital a decade before it was required by shady government organizations. A quick, gentle reminder here at the top of the episode that Film Theory merch is still available, including the great Freak hoodie that was time for the Local 58, the YouTube series credited for the creation of the analog horror genre. For those of you who don't know, analog horror is classified as a type of content.
I can't believe how big this guy's grown. Can you believe it, guys? We found him when he was at like 800 subscribers or something. And it's absolutely gone astronomical with how big they've gone now. And rightfully so. I remember saying that this guy deserves a lot more views. And by God, did they get it.
Like VHS tapes, radio, and old television broadcasts to tell cryptic stories. In the case of Local 58, each upload is a clip from a local access channel. You know, the type that you'd see in any small town around the US. City council meetings, old black and white movies that have fallen into the public domain, crudely made home videos, relaxing music playing against a generic schedule of upcoming programming. It sounds like the makings of the most boring thing ever. Like, there's a reason people do not watch local public access television.
Oops, my anarchy symbol.
But each one of Local 58's uploads comes with a horrifying twist. A shadowy figure here, dead body there, diagram showing us how we can lie in our yards to die, sinister threats warning us against looking at the sky. Now, back in 2019, I watched all these videos and came to the conclusion.
I think this was, like you said, this was the first channel to properly do this kind of genre, I guess, on YouTube.
And that the overarching story had to do with aliens from the moon, intercepting our television broadcast frequencies in order to get people to kill themselves and each other. At the time, I thought it was a pretty solid conclusion, but now, with these new uploads, I'm having second thoughts. And no, it's not just because the creator came out and debunked the whole alien theory.
Wait, Top Local 58 Theory. So this is the guy that actually did it. The video showed the moon, so it's about aliens. The video did not show the moon, but it's about aliens. Each video locks into a single rigid narrative about alien invasion, what are the aliens doing, bad things like invading.
It's mostly the reason, but not all of it. When you re-look at all the evidence...
So it's not aliens. What? I'm so confused.
It's like the threat that we're dealing with is actually much bigger than just an alien species. But to understand what it is and why I think that, we have to start with the latest upload, Digital Transition. The video starts with an old black and white television show, which we can figure out is a 1959 anthology series named One Step Beyond. A series in the vein of The Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits, where each episode tells its own spooky paranormal story. Once the show's over, we're brought back to our usual programming schedule, and we're told that Local 58 will be switching from an analog to a digital signal in accordance with FCG guidelines. So, a few things to pick apart here. First, what does it mean to switch from an analog to a digital signal? Well, analog television signals are transmitted through airwaves over a set frequency. This makes them susceptible to interference.
Like a radio.
And the further away you are from the source, the more likely you're going to get interference, static.
Oh, okay, got it. So that's how they interfered with the radio, the station to begin with.
or ghosting. Now, last time we covered Local 58, we concluded that whoever was trying to communicate with us, they were hijacking that exact signal. We even found the frequency that they were broadcasting at. Digital signals don't have that problem. They're packets of compressed data, ones and zeros, which can only be received and read by your appliance in one way. There's no half signals or interference. It's either working or it's not, as the packet of data is one secure thing. If
you think they did that because of the amount of interference? Like, the amount of, like, things, you know what I mean? Like this. Hello? Guys, it's really late. It's super late. Hello? Is it hello? Yeah? No. There's no one there. I'm going crazy, guys. All right.
With, you just don't get a signal. In terms of Local 58, what this transition is doing is silencing whatever was hijacking the analog signal trying to communicate with us. The second major detail here is the FCG. Now, I looked into it, and there are a couple of FCGs out in the real world. The Foreign Clearance Guide for the Department of Defense, and this one, which provides financial, regulatory, and technological support. But their logos don't seem to match up with the one that we see. Fortunately, the creator Chris Straub graced us with an answer to this on Twitter.
I guess an FCG
FCG is the Federal Communications Governance, basically his in-universe version of the real world's FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. We see in the video that the change is mandated to happen tonight, July 13th, 2021, and that's not an arbitrary date. Back in 2011, the FCC actually mandated the change from analog to digital.
I knew it. Like I said, I was in college at the time. I remember seeing the posters and stuff.
For small local broadcasters. When did they have to make the change by? 2015. But that eventually got pushed back to, you guessed it, July 13th, 2021. Good job, Chris. You did your homework. But just as the clock strikes midnight and the transition is happening, we see something resisting. Faint messages in the background that appear to be trying to break through the conversion. It's a bit hard to read, but with some effort you can make it out. I, the one you watched. I, the always here. They make you thought from pieces. They cut the thoughts I am. All knife. All knife. Thoughts shape in needles. They dream themselves in knives. And along the top of the screen, the header updates to betrayal. I come in.
Betrayal?
Don't know what that whole thing means yet, but they're talking about knives, and that makes me real uncomfortable. That's why I break out into a cold sweat whenever I watch a cooking channel. Also, not a good thing for a guy with his own cooking show, but whatever. Eventually, a stronger signal breaks through, and we end on the final words. Unthinking, they move to cut his throat, only to make 1,000 mouths. If he is silenced, we will speak for him. Signs and wonders flood our little sky. No stars above us, only eyes waiting to open. There are other receivers. Notice here.
Oh, okay. So are they referring to here that the stars represent other people and they can just go there and make them receivers? In other words, like, make them kill themselves?
That there's actually a switch from first person to third person. The actual broadcast text was, I, the one you watched. Whereas this breakthrough signal is, they cut his throat, we speak for him. That means that there appear to be two different entities talking to us here. But who or what are they? Well, we know from the first set of messages that whatever is speaking to us has always been here for us, was something that we used to watch. Notice the past tense. It also comes in through the window. That, coupled with the moon imagery that appears in pretty much every upload of Local 58, leads me to believe that it is, in fact, just the moon talking to us. The moon does indeed come through our window every night. It has always been up there for us, and humanity used to watch it and felt marveled by it. But now we have ourselves television, thought from little pieces.
I'm sorry, what? Television, moon. I thought you was going to say, like, we've got like equipment to look at things beyond the moon, which we do, and therefore the moon got jealous.
Packets of data put together to show on a screen.
The moon is just a crazy X, guys.
Pulls us away from being in awe of nature, from worshipping things like the stars and the moon, hence why the moon feels betrayed. And while I fully recognize that the theory of the moon is a talking entity sounds insane, in the lore of the series, there actually might be some more truth to it than you'd think. The second most recent upload is Sky Watching, in which we see close-ups of the moon covered not with rock and dust, but with organic webbing, like veins or sinews. It also seems to be breathing, as we see gases or souls or something flowing across the surface of it. The moon in this upload can also disappear and reappear much closer to Earth, so weird detail there. There's also some older evidence to this too. Chris Straub, as I mentioned before, the series creator, has said that whatever this series is, quote, it's alien to our existence, but no, I never get excited about extraterrestrials. And an article on TV Tropes claims
one of those guys is he's the Scott Cawthon, where he just doesn't give it away. To be fair though, people who do that, They often do make the best stuff.
Stated that it's
honest.
a cosmic horror story, though I gotta say I wasn't able to find the primary source to verify that. So it could very well be that the moon is an eldritch-type monster, or is home to an eldritch-type monster similar to other cosmic entities like Cthulhu. There's also one little Easter egg that I learned about from Reddit user Omni.
Is it the
87,
website?
who pointed out that the opening clip of One Step Beyond at the top of the upload has actually been altered. The narrator's name has been changed from John Newland to John Newmond, a German word for new moon. The other voices then seem to be worshippers of whatever the moon is. Notice that it says, signs and wonders flood our little sky, implying that these people are here on Earth. If the moon is silenced, or in their words, if his throat is cut, then these individuals will take up his message, hence the 1,000 mouths that are being referenced. And again, we actually see a bit of this in Skywatching. When the moon reappears at the end of the video, a man walks into frame raising his hands and the words rejoice appear on screen. He's welcoming the moon's arrival.
Is this a cult to the moon?
Just makes me wonder, no stars above, only eyes waiting to open. Are these worshippers right? Is everything in the night sky alive? I mean, if the moon is, why not everything else? But this is only scratching the surface of what this video brings to the table. You see, Digital Transition also gives us a phone number to call. The phone number is certainly creepy, but not altogether helpful. Calling it plays some distorted audio, which contains
the amount of effort that the creator must have gone to do all this. It's like I remember hearing about the Blair Witch Project. I remember hearing something, I don't know if it's true, that they tried to keep it like as if it was real. They had a website and everything, and they spent, I don't know how much they spent like trying to convince people that it was actually real.
Morse code.
And people believed it, obviously, because the Blair Witch was one of the first of its kind. It was the first like found footage like thing. Found footage terrifies me, to be fair. Not like the new age found footage, but like the Blair Witch and stuff. The way it feels real.
When decrypted, it spells out there are other receivers, just like the end of the video. If you send that number a text message, you're gonna get the same result, a reply saying there are other receivers. So I think at this point we get the message.
Wow, so imagine that this wasn't like an ARG, it was actually real life. And if you messaged into this thing, it would go through your phone and hypnotize you in your brain somehow to go look at the moon and die.
They try to communicate with us through other receivers, other devices. They've already proven that they can do it with phones, but what else? Well, below that phone number, as well as in the text crawl at the start of the video, is a website. It's actually a really clever move. The video is all about switching from analog to digital, and now there's a digital element to the story. So bravo, Local 58, well thought out. So we checked it out, and sure enough, there was in fact an ARG lying in wait for us. Though we were actually a little bit late to the party. Apparently this one's been going on for months, and the latest video was just drawing in all us stragglers that hadn't been following the series or its creator on Twitter. Better late than never, I suppose. The page
well done, Matt Pat. You're the one that's meant to be, on top of things. Can't believe this. I'm unsubscribing. I'm unliking. I'm disliking this video. Look, I can see how many people. That is dangerous, by the way, guys. That is very dangerous. I don't know why that's a thing.
Be a broken image of a diagram explaining how to use your analog to digital converter. Below that is another massive image which is just compressed beyond recognition. There are some words that can be made out here and there, like public eye, paid programming, civic development agency, emergency alert system, but all of those are just ripped and distorted images from previous uploads from the series. There might be other things in here, but so far neither us nor the Local 58 subreddit have found anything. I will say that the last part of this massive image looks to me like a hand reaching down and infecting the ground in some way, or someone kneeling on the earth, but that's just
so remember the FNAF 3 mini games, guys? It's like that, isn't
speculation. No, to me the main thing of interest here is actually at the top of the page. Here we can see that the actual website seems to be a knockoff of the Wayback Machine, something called Lookback. This sort of website allows you to look at a website's history and see what edits have been made to it over the years. If you have never tried this, I highly recommend that you do. It is super fun, and you would be amazed by the changing looks of some of your favorite web pages. For instance, early 2000s YouTube was
yeah, that was disgusting.
Wild. Here's us at just under 100,000 subscribers in 2013. Here's the Angry Video Game Nerds channel.
Oh my god, look, remember this, guys. I don't know if you guys, was some of you alive when this came out, when YouTube was like this? It's crazy to think that kids are being born in a time after YouTube.
From
you know
2008, YouTube was a
hang on, what was that episode? Shit Pickle?
2013. Here's the Angry...
Shit Pickle, episode 3.
Video game
What is this
Nerd's
about?
channel from 2008. YouTube was a very different beast back then. These little spikes that we see on the graph above represent these different save states in time, and by clicking them, we get to end up at different pages. Some take us directly to the YouTube channel for Local 58. Others give us a bit more to chew on. The one I really want to focus on is the first one, the one from 1999. Clicking on this gives us a very old website, which doesn't show us much except another glitched technical manual, this time for a vestigial low-band filter. I was initially worried that this image was just going to give us info for a tool that we needed to buy in order to convert some analog code to a digital one, but if you adjust the contrast and brightness multiple times, a QR code is actually revealed in the bottom right-hand corner. The QR code doesn't take you anywhere, but instead reveals the unique phrase, parasite is to host as inhabitant is to environment. If you
To think that the video we just watched is full of this crap. Can you believe it, guys?
ever paid attention,
Like, if you could just, like, on a base level, on the foundation level, you just watch a video and go, oh, that was pretty fun. And you don't dive in. It's like playing Five Nights at Freddy's, seeing a bit of the lore and going, oh, yeah, well, what, you know. And just thinking that the game's just about some killer animatronics, you know what I mean?
math class, or have ever taken standardized testing, this sort of problem might seem familiar to you. And that's not the only secret phrase that we can find across these websites. Returning to the look back header, you'll actually see some entry points from 2001. If you click the first one, you get a 500 internal server error, which has itself a fun little Easter egg. The server information at the bottom should read Apache, but instead uses the word apogee, another moon reference. In this
Wow.
case, the point at which the moon is furthest from the planet. But that's not all. In an ARG, a broken web page is rarely actually a broken web page. In this case, we see information about the server error, but you'll notice that there's a forward address that looks to be a folder location. I tried plugging it into the URL bar and got this.
Oh, wow.
This secret page takes you to
Oh, okay, so we did this live?
another
Hang on, guys, give me a sec. Close your eyes.
This secret page takes you to another document, this time talking all about the wonders of home
God, that's
recording.
funny.
It also has itself a creepy final paragraph all about our mortal eyes lifting up to the empty throne of the master. Feels good, man. The throne here is a reference yet again to the moon, as we see back in Skywatching that the moon is labeled his throne. So again, more evidence suggesting that the moon itself isn't alive, but maybe some massive monster living inside of it. Gotta admit, that seems like splitting hairs against the whole extraterrestrial thing, but
That's-
whatever. Anyway,
It
behold,
is. He's
right
saying it's not about aliens, but just technically that's an alien, right?
below that paragraph, there's another QR code, this time hidden in the TV screen, which gives us yet another phrase, a predator cannot differentiate prey from accomplice. The final piece of the ARG that I want to mention is the 404 page. I actually wasn't able to find this one myself, but lots of people over on the Local 58 subreddit have been data mining this page trying to find any new clues, and the earliest screenshot of this I could find came from Lord Gaben 5841. Apologies if Lord Gaben isn't actually the first, but as far as I could tell, that was just the first instance of this being found. Anyway, this page at first seems like a glitchy 404 page, nothing too special. But if you inspect the source code of the website, which feels so good to do because it's been a long time since we've had to check the source code of a web page, the
Scott's
data
games.
text reads, what you need is no longer here. I guess we gotta keep looking. Underneath, there's more text. This one looks like a jumbled mess, but if you highlight it, copy, paste, and then spread out the spacing of the letters, or again, just check the source code for the site, you'll see what it says. Beyond a certain point, watching is no different from doing. So
What
at
is
this point, we
this?
have ourselves 3 random
You find you get yourself an answer, and it just it asks 3 more questions. It's like a freaking Hydra.
phrases. A parasite is to a host as an inhabitant is to the environment. A predator cannot differentiate prey from accomplice, and beyond a certain point, watching is no different from doing. So what do they all mean, and how does it connect to a living and homicidal moon monster? Well, let's take the first one. What if we humans are the parasites? We inhabit this environment, this planet, taking advantage of the host for our own means, regardless of the consequences. We destroy rainforests for profit, we throw millions of pounds of trash into the oceans, we pollute the skies every single day. Sounds like an apt analogy to me. And for all of you who are sitting there thinking, well, I don't do that, I recycle, I walk to work. Too bad, because of the second phrase, beyond a certain point, watching is no different from doing. This
but
planet
what are you meant to do about
is
it?
too far gone in the eyes of whoever is leaving us
I mean,
these
it's true.
messages. As such, the fact that you're just sitting by and watching it happen makes you just as responsible as everyone else. So, is that it? It's just an environmental message? Yeah, I think. The pieces largely fit, but I do think there's more to it from a lore perspective. Let's stop just looking at Earth from what we understand and instead start looking at the idea of killing the planet more literally. If the moon and stars in Local 58 are actual entities or home to greater cosmic beings, then who's to say that the Earth isn't also one of those things? A cosmic
The
entity
editing
that
on these
we,
is
the
insane.
parasites, are actually killing. And that is where our third phrase comes in. A predator cannot differentiate prey from accomplice. I spoke earlier about the moon worshippers, but who are they? I believe that they're an organization called the Thought Research Initiative. In canon, they were the ones that made the 1983 video Real Sleep. Now, why them? Well, their logo appears to be on the latest webpage from 2021. Though it is super distorted, you can definitely make out the slanted T and even parts of the R and the I. Also, according to the Game Detectives Wiki, which has been tracking changes to the Local 58 website, when the 404 page was originally discovered on September 13th, there was a nearly invisible element at the bottom of the page that read, Copyright 2021, Thought Research Initiative, LLC. So, it would seem like they're trying to help the moon accomplish its goal of wiping out the parasites, stopping this environmental destruction by eliminating us. But there's one problem with that. They too are gonna get caught in the crossfire. A predator cannot differentiate prey from accomplice. This organization or cult or whatever you want to call them may be helping. They may believe that by doing so they're gonna be spared by the moon for doing it, like so many other religions do. But I believe that this message is a warning for them. They will not be spared because they are still human. They are still parasites that must be removed. When speaking about a cosmic entity, the lives of a few humans are too minuscule to care. The predator cannot differentiate the prey. So there you have it, friends, what I've been able to figure out so far when it comes to Local 58. The moon, or a giant monster in it, is mad about being ignored, and a series of cultists on Earth are hijacking broadcasts to fight on its behalf. But clearly there's more here. A huge shout out to the Local 58 subreddit, as well as to the Game Detectives Wiki, who've been doing a great job of tracking all the changes to this site, allowing me to catch up on things that happened long before I was made aware of these websites even existing. And sure, I've tried to piece
people who make ARGs, guys, I swear, it's the brain you've got to have to, like, I've already said this about, like, oh me, Alex Kansas, and, like, you know, Mandela Catalog, Local 58, Gemini Entertainment, you know, all these freaking awesome things, like the brains you have to have.
Together a narrative based on the information that we have now, but there are still a few things that may change that conclusion. For example, there's that big colorful image on the main webpage, which some members of the Reddit community have theorized might reveal more information if you use an analog television system as a monitor. The compressed TRI logo feels like there's gotta be something there. I also wonder if we're fully finished with the phone audio. Sure, it's kinda solved because we did the Morse code, but there's also some muffled audio near the end that nobody seems to have gotten anything out of. User Shades10318 actually called out that it sounds similar to an old radio scrambled signal, and reminds us that the article about the low-band filter might be a clue to solving it. This is known as voice inversion scrambling, but without an old-school radio with a sideband.
You're gonna need some kind of freaking sound engineer to do this.
Frequency setting, it doesn't seem.
But that's the thing, that's what I'm talking about with the whole, like, the creator has to be a genius, because they've got to know all these certain things. They've got to be, like, key in all these areas.
Totally possible to solve it digitally, at least not that I could find with the limited amount of time that I had to research this one. In short, if any of this is interesting to you, I highly encourage you to go over to the Local 58 subreddit, as well as the Game Theorist subreddit, to join in and let me know if you find anything new. This franchise is far from over, and I'm looking forward to covering it again when we've solved more puzzles.
Jeez.
In the meantime, don't look up, look up, look up, look. And especially don't look at the moon. Instead, you could look at this awesome poster of the moon thanks to our sponsor for today's episode, Displate. It's
okay, guys. Well, there we go. Fantastic. This is what I mean. Like, I watch it on the surface level, and I'm like, oh, fun. Look, moon man, people dying. That's what I think of. I don't think of all this, like, background stuff that's going on. That could be, you know, because I'm not smart enough for that kind of stuff. But it's interesting to know that there's probably going to be more from Local 58. And like I said, they were the first, you know, the first of their kind, one of the first of the kind to do this. So, yeah, it's super interesting.